Citizens of Tamriel, welcome back to Morrowind, and the game has changed. If you haven't heard, there's this project called OpenMW, Open Morrowind, which is an open source engine replacement for Morrowind. And one of the biggest problems with Morrowind is that the engine is so outdated. The game released in 2002, and it's been almost 20 years. Sorry for making everyone feel old, but it's been almost 2 decades. And I have a video showing off Morrowind modded graphics, which looks amazing. You can check that out. But the problem was I couldn't use OpenMW because it was just so laggy. It wasn't performing well. However, just recently, in the past week or so, OpenMW released a new version, and this new version is highly optimized. They changed how it renders objects, how it renders grass, and now it's running buttery smooth. So let me show you what the game looks like now. This is not using my ultimate graphics mods. This is using my easy modding guide. Basically, I have a 30-minute tutorial on how to mod Morrowind to look like this. And it's pretty good. It's very vanilla friendly. It's got all the nice touches, but it's not overly done. So if you've never modded Morrowind before, you can follow that guide. I don't cut out any steps. You can follow it second for second, and it's just 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes if you take your time. You can get it looking like this. And then, now, all you have to do is download OpenMW and run the game through that instead. And there's a lot more options. For example, if I bring up the options menu, you've got your usual stuff, right? However, if you go to video, there's a whole lot more, right? So if you look at detail, there's view distance, which now works very differently. There's water options, there's light options. One huge improvement for OpenMW is that it supports more lights showing at the time. And I think it's right now up to 32 lights, whereas Morrowind was by default 8. So if you had like 10 lights in front of you, a couple of the lights had to turn off. They just turned off for no apparent reason because it just could not render lights. It's an engine limitation, but we're not on that engine anymore. And let me show you how view distance works. Now, I've done a bit of a cheat to give me faster walking speed, but you know what? I've had a cheat for view distance, for acrobatics as well. Let's just jump up into the sky. And then, let me bring up the options menu. Under detail, the view distance, it just changes on the fly, right? This is the minimum view distance, not so great. We can set it to far, which is 10 times, and it doesn't render everything immediately. But let's press OK and return, and things will load in now. Just give it a second, I set the view distance to max, and there we go. That's the max view distance. We can see everything. There's Vivek, there's Pelagiad, there's that, I forgot the name of that Dwemer dungeon thing. But yeah, this is the max view distance, and it's great, right? You can see quite a long ways. Now, I wouldn't recommend playing at this view distance because it makes the world feel very small, like, oh, Vivek's just there, apparently. Personally, I prefer view distance of 3.5, which is right about here. Okay, it's far, but it's not too far. Also, you know, it's slightly more optimized, but you can see far enough on 3.5, right? And all sorts of other things are improved as well, like animation improvements, over the shoulder camera, you know? So the rendering of things, like one thing in my ultra modded Morrowind is that shadows, there's just an engine limitation of where high resolution shadows were. They could only be so close, rather. It's not even so far, it's so close. Basically from here, the shadows on that building right there would have been fuzzy. And as you approached it, you could actually see a line of how when it goes from low quality shadows to high quality shadows. But that doesn't happen in this engine. See, the shadows just remain high quality, right? So this engine improvement. Now, OpenMW releases versions rather slowly, right? The last time I modded Morrowind for like full-on high-quality graphics, which took me 3 full days of modding and maybe about 200 mods, it looked a lot better than this. So this is my, again, I'm reminding everyone, this is my quick 30-minute modding look, which you can go check that out if you've never modded Morrowind before. The last time I tried Open Morrowind was end of 2020, and on the last version of Open Morrowind, I loaded this up, and it was just laggy. I was getting like maybe 10 frames a second, but now you can see it's buttery smooth. It's buttery smooth. Even jumping out, doing a big spin, it's fine. It's fine. Look, nothing's lagging. It's perfectly fine. It's such a huge improvement. Now, of course, you can still lag out the game if you really like. One demonstration they did on the Open Morrowind video was there was probably like 50 NPCs all holding torches, and it was starting to lag out at that point. But just in general, things load so much faster. Yeah, let me fast travel using the Silt Strider, good old Silt Strider, to another location and see how quickly this loads. Hello.
Where would you like to go?
I would like to go to, you know what? Bring me to, you know, Balmora is always a classic. Bring me to Balmora. And it's gonna load. Of course, it's still got a bit of a load. But what used to take like maybe 20, 25, 30 seconds, it took like 5 seconds to get here. And here we are in Balmora. The rain is pouring down. But that's good. Do we have money to travel to somewhere else? Just to show, let's go to, you know, let's go to Aldrun. Let's go to Aldrun. And also, just in terms of starting up the game, oh, it's a sandstorm. Just in terms of starting up the game, it starts up much faster. Starting a new game loads much quicker. So everything loads real quick, right? Look how quickly there's barely, there isn't. Is there even a loading screen for going into buildings? Where's another door? There's one. Look, there is a bit of a loading, but it's almost unnoticeable. Another good point. We can talk about things and see how this is an option in the OpenMW launcher. It grays out conversation topics that have been explored. So there's nothing new. So if I click on this, look at that. So if we go away, do a bunch of stuff, come back, and it's like, oh yeah, have I talked to you before? Oh yeah, okay, there's some new stuff. I don't need to ask about my trade or services. I'm sorry, I'm blocking it. Silly me. Look, I don't have to ask about my trade and services anymore, right? When you talk about things, it grays out. This is such a nice little option, right? That's part of OpenMW. So before, like a year ago, just a year ago, I would have said, OpenMW, interesting project. Like, it's great if you want to run vanilla Morrowind, but if you want to use mods, it's not so good. But now, it's really, can we see much? Oh, look at that. The sandstorm environment. Ghost Gate. Bit of lava over there. Now, it's hard to think of a reason why you shouldn't use OpenMW, right? It's just so much better, right? And of course, you can keep modding way beyond this. So this is my minimal mod list, but I think it's a great... Like, if you're playing Morrowind for the first time, the minimal mod list is kind of nice because it's just sort of simple, basic, lore-friendly, vanilla-friendly, and it gives you the original experience while still having things somewhat modernized, right? Oh, right, the arm does, look at that. The smoother animations given by the engine, because it's an option to do smoother animations. Let me load back to my save. Yep, load that. See how quickly it does it, first of all. This used to take way longer. Look, we're back. Back in Sedanine. Right? There's the sun. Very bright if you look right at it. But yeah. This is now Morrowind, and OpenMW really does bring it to that next level. I'm so happy that OpenMW is at a point where it is just better. It is just better, right? It's been a long time waiting for something like this. And just another reminder, in case any of you are judging, oh, I can get my Morrowind looking better than this. Of course, yes. I have a video on that, showing off Morrowind at amazing graphics. But this was my minimal mod list. So you can get this running right now, like this, in this engine, in like half hour, 45 minutes, right? At that point, if you want to keep modding it, go for it. You could spend weeks, months, years modding Bethesda games. But for now, if you just want to play Morrowind today, go check out my easy modding guide. If you just search easy modding Morrowind, you'll find the video. And then you just download and install OpenMW, launch the game through OpenMW, and here you are. Morrowind in a new age. I might want to explore this a little bit more. Mods have probably progressed somewhat since the last time I checked this out, so I might want to go back and get back to modding Morrowind, trying to wreck my graphics cards, but it's going to be hard to wreck my graphics card with OpenMW running so efficiently. And reflections in OpenMW, they're better than Skyrim. If you've seen my Skyrim in obliterating my RTX 3080 in Skyrim Ultra Modded Next Gen, which is truly next gen, by the way. By the way, I'm just gonna get on my soapbox right here. If you want to label a game next gen, it should not run at 60 frames a second. Because if your game is running at 60 frames a second, then it's not next gen. It's current gen, because current gen hardware can run it fine. So I've got this Skyrim in 2022 graphics mods, and it's running at like 25 to 35 frames a second, but it looks properly next gen, besides some engine limitations because Bethesda. It's not a problem here though. This engine is not from Bethesda. This is OpenMW. Finally at a state where I can just say it's like, if you're modding Morrowind, it's just a must. Like, just use it. It was so easy to use, and the options are all right there, right? You can just change quite a lot of things in-game, right? Sometimes you have to restart. Let's do... I remember playing Morrowind with this view distance back in the day. This is how we used to play Morrowind 20 years ago, when your computer just could not render more. It's like, let's bump it back up. Like, I might even say playing the game at like 2 to 3 view distance is kind of good. I know the far view distance is fancy and all, but you know, the whole point of Morrowind is that it feels like a large world, and expanding the view distance makes it feel very small. So if you jump up here at, I set it to 3, right? Yeah, at 3, you cannot see Vivek from Seydanin, right? You can't see Vivek from Seydanin, and I think that's appropriate. That's intended, right? You have to fly over to Vivek. There it is. There it is. Look, there's Vivek. So of course, if you stay on the ground, things look just brilliant. Anyway, that's a quick look at OpenMW going into 2022. And basically OpenMW, we got, the last update was like a year ago. Oh, we're under attack. Let's run away. The last update was a year ago, over a year ago. And so we're probably going to be looking at this version of OpenMW for a long time. So through 2022 at least. So go check it out. Mod video, the Skyrim in 2022 video, and thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, click the buttons on the screen right now and you can go check out the other videos. There should be the easy modding guide right here and Skyrim in 2022 right here. I highly recommend looking at both of those just to see how the engines and everything has gone. But until then, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Bye.